Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lilith series. This is your astrologer, Adama, and I'm here with an extra special guest, Marina Granger.
Hi, everybody.
And
Adama, thank you so much for having me here. I absolutely love hanging out.
she's also one of my really good friends, so it's going to be a little bit silly. We have some tea.
Tea.
And like last time, cheers.
Cheers.
We did a tea party. I don't know if you guys remember our live North Node, South Node, Chiron, and your creative calling video. But this is Marina back again. And I really wanted to go more in depth into her career and her company, the Artist Advisory, which you started how long ago? How long has it been?
It was a year in August 20, well, I started it in August 2018.
Wow. And she's come so far. Business is booming. She's doing so great. So I thought she'd be perfect to have on the Lilith series, where we really want to spotlight female entrepreneurs who are doing their damn thing and they're regular people like you and I living our lives. So my first question that I want to get into is I want to just go back to little Marina and a time when you were figuring out what you wanted to do. And then we can also touch upon your North and South Node because I kind of want to remind everyone of that.
Yeah.
So what were your aspirations when you were younger?
So I just want to say, like, when I was a little girl, I have a very vivid memory of watching TV in our living room back in the Soviet Union, which is where I was born. I moved to the United States at the age of 6. I came here as a refugee from the falling Soviet Union. So
humans are a refugee, you guys.
Yeah, and English is my second language. So, and that
I love it when you speak Russian. I'm like, wait, I forget because she speaks perfect English. You would never know at all.
Maybe not so perfect in Russian, but yeah. But anyway, so I remember I have this vivid memory of watching TV and watching Swan Lake. And it was a ballet, and I just wanted to dance. I wanted to express myself, and I was definitely under 6 years old. I must have been even, maybe 4 years old. This was such a young, vivid memory of mine, and all I wanted to do was express myself. So my grandparents saw me watching this and decided to put me into ballet class in the Soviet Union. So that was really cute. And one thing then, the next big memory that I remember that really shaped me and molded me was my mom and I when we moved to New York already, she decided to take me on a trip to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And that is where I just not only, creativity was, and expressing my own creativity was no longer like the most important thing for me. What was really critical for me there was figuring out how all the paintings got onto the walls, who made those decisions, why is it this one and not that one, what made these people in the museum, what's behind the walls and have the paintings on them and the artwork everywhere. I mean, I was just so curious. And from that point on, I knew I wanted to work in the art world. It was like the thing for me. I must have been, I want to say I was like 7 years old. This was like the first moment we got to the United States. My mom took me to the Met, and I was just filled with curiosity about everything. Yeah, so, from there, I, of course, everyone wanted me to have a practical career, so to speak, they wanted me to be like a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant or something that, there's definitely a need for, right? Because there's no need for an artist or anything in the creative field.
But we need them. We need these people.
I mean, we totally need these people. It's so important. So I went and I signed up to go to a business school, like a college known for business, but I knew I could go there because art history was a major.
So you're like, oh yeah, parents, I'm going to business school, aka still doing my own thing. So Sagittarius sun, she's gonna do her own thing.
I did my own
Mhm.
thing, and I totally decided to pursue art history from day one of college. And I went on to earn my master's degree in art history, and I worked in the New York art world for 15 years. But
Wow.
the whole time that I was working there, I was so jaded, even from day one. Although when I graduated college, I really went in thinking there's thousands of art institutions all over the world, maybe hundreds of thousands. There's probably over 1,000 art institutions in New York City alone. How is it so difficult for me to find a job?
Yeah.
Well, one thing was that a lot of my professors in college that would teach me anything creative would say, like, good luck finding a job. It's so difficult.
It's like, that's just like putting that vibration out there, just so negative, and ugh.
So that
awful.
really, really challenged my self-worth in the art world. And I ended up working for a lot of people and, doing what they, helping them achieve their dreams. And also doing so in a way that would compromise my own passion to do whatever it was that I wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, Marina, going to her North and South node, she has her North node in Taurus, and it's actually conjunct out of sign, excuse me, with Chiron and Gemini. And then she has her South node in Scorpio, and that's conjunct Saturn and Pluto. And her Pluto is positioned in the second house of self-worth. So that can really lead to that sort of energy where you don't feel like you have a voice. It's difficult when you do try to reach for that. It's just something that you have to take the extra step to do and really break out of, those chains of confinement.
I mean, I was so shocked and like relieved when you told me these things when we had a reading.
She's one of my clients as well.
Addie's changed my life because you've highlighted these things that I kind of knew. Like, for example, you say to me that my the Scorpio something is like polar opposite, and so it's my North and South node are like
complete
so
opposite.
polar opposite. Yeah. And I kept thinking in my life, I'm like, I know I have an extra challenge, but like I don't know what the challenge is. I feel like maybe I maybe I have some sort of like issue, like maybe I have a learning thing. I mean, I always got really good grades, but I felt like I had to study extra for that. And I feel like I'm doing that in the school of life, and that's probably because of this North and South node difference.
Yeah.
It's pretty freaking cool.
It's really great to understand that. And I think you guys should check out that video if you haven't yet already, because we go even more in depth into it. But I think understanding that and moving more towards something that's more satisfying for yourself has been, tremendous for your life. So maybe let's get into like, what did you do after leaving? Did you leave these people that were not serving you? Okay.
Oh my gosh, I was like,
was this during your Saturn return?
100% during Saturn return.
Saturn comes to check up on you.
It's so funny that you ask me that now, because everything I've told you guys up to now has been like ruled by my South node, right? Like everything that was like challenge, like that was it was easy for me to do these things. It was easy for me to kind of be a servant in life rather than like being my own boss, because it was just in my astrological makeup to do that. And it was in my South node, which I'm like, getting it's
out of there.
It's the past, right? So everything from this point on now, I'm going to tell you, was super North node. And when you gave me that reading, my mind was blown. So I decided, I had this like really weird whirlwind where I ended up leaving the traditional art world, so to speak, or like the traditional structure of the art world. I left my gallery job. I had a lot of growth in a span of like 6 months. In that 6 months, I left my gallery job. Our big orange Cheeto became president. I finished my master's thesis, and then my dearest person to me ever passed away. It was my grandfather. And, you know, it was tough, but, you know, he was 93. So, you know, it wasn't out of the blue. But I'm grateful that I was there with him. And when this happened, it was just such a whirlwind, and
so much,
it was the chaos. It was like the tumble, like the shit hitting the fan, so to speak.
This is Saturn return.
Yes.
It really is.
It was just like,
yeah.
Saturn was all like,
fucking your
hey,
shit up.
just testing you here. Can you handle this?
Yeah.
And so all these things were happening, and I didn't know what to do. I just couldn't see myself sitting in a gallery for, you know, a whole work week and then having a little weekend where I barely get to see any art because everything that I want to see is closed, right? Because I work in the gallery world, and then the galleries have the same schedule, and so on Sundays and Mondays I wouldn't be working, and all the other galleries are closed. Museums would be open, but galleries would be closed. So, and also I didn't want to see art after sitting around art all the time. I just,
well,
it
it's
was
also
too
like
much.
the same
thing
shit, and then also you're not curating it. You're kind of working for somebody else.
Yeah. And then the other thing was, I noticed that I had to compromise who I was when I was working in the art world, because I had to, you know, and by nature, I feel like I love to be nice to everyone. And
like whenever we go somewhere, like literally like get to know everybody.
Get to know her. I'm like,
which is good.
Loquacious.
Which is like amazing.
Yeah.
Good.
But the other thing is, I had to have a certain, like, there was like kind of a hierarchy to who you're nice to when you work in the art world. And I hate to say it, but you ever walk into a gallery and you think to yourself, like, oh my gosh, is this person ignoring me? Like, am I not supposed to be here? I feel intimidated. That's what galleries are supposed to do, right? They're supposed to make you feel intimidated in this really weird way. So
interesting.
You know, because
it's like rich people just to buy the art.
Well, because when a collector walks in and you're super nice to them because you recognize them, they feel indebted to buy something, to spend a lot of money. I mean, it's just like weird. Yeah, it's like a weird, archaic business model, right? But whatever.
I'm sure, yeah.
You know, it is what it is. But I just could not do that. If someone came up to me and they were like, hey, I want to show you my artwork, or what, you know, can we, like, why aren't you accepting my work? Or if they were, you know, because if an artist walks into your gallery unannounced, they're the person that you're supposed to ignore, right? Like, which really sucks.
Because it's like, right? What if it's really good art?
What if it's really good?
I would feel bad.
Yeah, I looked at every single thing, and I made sure to give feedback to every portfolio. And I noticed that, you know, ages ago when I was like 18, I did a class in college where I like walked around different galleries in New York City, which was a wonderful class. I got to see what all the galleries were about. And one of these galleries, it was open since like the 70s, and it was very popular. There was one guy there. His name is Ivan Karp. This was at OK Harris. I noticed that I was intimidated walking into every single gallery except for his.
This is the energy.
Yeah, it was the energy. And when I was like kind of poking around, there was an artist that came in and showed his work to Ivan Karp, the owner of this ginormous gallery that's been open since the 70s, really great gallery. And Ivan Karp looked at his work and gave him honest feedback.
And you just saw that, you were like...
I was like, that's what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah, I completely agree. Art is for everyone. And there could be an artist living in, you know, a box and just be phenomenal, and you would never know if you don't give them a chance.
Right. So anyway,
so true.
You know, I had this big changing moment in my life but I guess we're kind of like all over the place. I had a long life.
Yeah.
I know it
I
was
mean,
young. But anyway, I had this big changing moment, and I ended up styling. I was a costume designer for TV commercials, which sounds really fantastic.
It's so cool.
It was so cool, but basically all I did all day was like shop at Zara and H&M and Old Navy to like make somebody look as like invisible as possible in a commercial, so that the product could be the first thing that people see.
So it's like stock type of
yes
styling.
Stock styling. This would never fly. This jacket would be like, I'm sorry, this is too cool. Unless it was like a fun winter like beer commercial or
like
something.
A Bud Light Girl,
or like a liquor commercial, like Stoli vodka. Totally not sponsored, by the way. No. But anyway, so styling was like so glamorous, so fun. I all of a sudden got all this like respect
from like the styling,
from like
art community, like all that.
Not necessarily from them, but the people that I was working for. This
That's
blew
so awesome.
my mind.
That's your Pluto and Scorp talking with self-worth, because it's like, yeah, you deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I have had bosses who really respected me and knew what was up, but I may not have felt that because I wasn't there yet, you know? And here in this world, all of a sudden, my self-worth exploded.
So awesome.
And it was.
This is after your Saturn return.
Yes. Early after Saturn return. And I all of a sudden was able to I was able to talk to these like executives and advertising people and producers and directors that were like really intimidating to everyone else, but to me, I wasn't intimidated by them because I was the intimidator in my old jobs, you know? And so I knew what it was like, why people like intimidate other people. And I was like, no, we're working as a team here.
Yeah.
I am not intimidated by you. And I'm sure, you know, they respected that. And I was able to have a wonderful career doing that. I did that for I've done over 24 commercials, which is
so
like,
awesome.
So random.
So cool.
But then I ended up, I had so many people ask me for advice constantly. It was a constant in my life. And I never thought I was good enough to give it.
Just like people in the creative field, like artists.
Yes.
Yeah.
People like
all over.
Anything from like artists. Friends applying to other jobs.
And like I ask her.
Yeah. And you know, like friends starting businesses, applying to other jobs, artists submitting things to like applications, things like that. What should my studio look like when this curator comes to visit? Like all these things, because I was very approachable, and what I said, I think, was very relatable and understandable.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I have always been like a connector.
Absolutely.
between like the almost like the lowbrow and the highbrow, or you know, the buyer and the seller, or whatever it is. Like I was able to translate what somebody meant to someone else.
Yeah.
And so I always was able to help these people, and I thought, wait a minute, I'm going to start a business around this.
So now we have the artist advisory, correct?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
So it came from this idea of like, well, the landscape of the art world was shifting all of a sudden. Like all of a sudden in the art world, the power was always with the gallery director. Right? Or with the gallery.
Even if it was independent versus like Sotheby's and
all
of that, or are they kind of like two separate worlds?
They're two separate worlds, but even with Sotheby's had a different, the power with Sotheby's was that the collector was in charge, sort of, because they were the ones buying everything, right?
Gotcha.
They had
Yeah.
the money.
Yeah.
And so the art was just like always there. We always kind of felt like there was enough art. And the goal of the gallery was to make it seem like it was scarce, so you would want to buy it more. But the other thing was that the gallery was the gatekeeper between the artist and everyone else. So an artist by default needed a gallery. They wanted a gallery because they wanted the connections that a gallerist was able to give them. They wanted to be connected to collectors, curators, museum directors, other artists that would support their work, like so many different types of people.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, with the internet, you can talk to anyone.
Oh, and Instagram, like
Instagram.
that's I feel like there's like a new artist popping up on Instagram that's literally just showing their work, and they're like, this is,
all the time.
I don't need it anymore. Like, I don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
So democratized it.
It's
happening with a lot of industries. Like now I've started my business online. You started, like literally, like there's no excuses anymore for not doing your passion and starting what you want. Like you can literally be like a SoundCloud rapper or whatever if you want. Like you can, like if you're a DJ, you can like literally put all your mixes online, and if people like it, then they'll buy it. So it's democratized a lot of industries. So that's really interesting to hear.
Yeah. I mean, the really most important thing that you can do is like really believe in yourself, that you have the power to do whatever it is you want. So we at this point in history, more than ever, have so much power to do whatever we want, because we have this giant megaphone that is the internet that is helping us get our point across. You know, it's like we can now all of a sudden put out a smoke signal, so to speak, on the internet for anyone that we want, you know.
Millions of people.
Billions of people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And so this is something that I tell artists all the time, is be very, very clear with whatever it is that your intention is, right? Why are you making the work? What is it about? And see who would be into it. You can't make someone fall in love. I mean, you probably can if the painting is beautiful and they love the painting and they have some connection to it, or if the work of art is beautiful and they have a connection to it, but you have a sure, or like a more sure way of getting somebody to love something if they love it anyway. So, you know, if you're painting constellations, maybe one day, call it Anima. You want to be part of a community of people who care about constellations. That's astrologers, astronomers, you know, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Even though he doesn't believe in astrology, but maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe you could have like an astrology versus astronomy thing.
I'm gonna tag him in this. I'm gonna tag him in this video.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, this is for you.
I love him. Love him.
Yeah, he's so cool. I listen to Star Talk all the time.
So cool.
I also listen and watch Star Trek all the time.
My mom's into Star Trek.
Oh, cute.
It's pretty interesting. Once in a while, I'll dabble. I like Star Wars. Baby Yoda is like lately my thing. He's very cute.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to like segue.
Hey, we're talking about stars.
But like, I mean, it's just interesting for me, like as someone who is just like, I'm gonna start putting myself out there online. I think Marina helps in, like, you mostly help independent artists, or
well, I help artists
get themselves out there.
Yeah, so I help emerging artists who are without a gallery. I help artists that have galleries. Actually, there have been gallery directors who call me and they're like, "Hey, Marina, can you help an artist that I'm working with because they're not being clear enough to me?" And the thing is, artists, artists are so emotionally connected to the work, and rightfully so. And so it's always helpful to have an outside,
like a
opinion,
different brain too.
Yeah, and an outside brain to help you curate what it is that you're showing to people online and what your studio is like It's always so good. And I have so much experience doing this with artists, you know, IRL, that I'm starting to do it online too. So I work with artists in groups. I have a course called the Artist Academy. It's like my signature program, and I help artists realize their power in the structure of the art world, in the shifting landscape of the art world. I also teach them how to build their own websites that are super effective, their Instagrams, and like curate their Instagrams. I have other experts on there, like Instagram PR and like curators come on and talk about what best practices are for certain things. And you know, this is so important because when you have someone's attention, let's say you meet someone at a party, you give them your card, or somebody stumbles upon your page, they have 3 seconds or less
you
of
like
attention.
scroll, you're like, okay, like whatever, or you want to engage more with it.
Yeah. I just the other day, I had a friend who posted a like a picture of herself in this really cute hat, and I'm like, where is this hat from? I click it, and then I go to the hat
could you shop?
Instagram. You can shop on the Instagram, but I've been looking for a hat like this for like months.
Hi.
And I instantly saw it, you know, and it was just like so clear where to buy it, how much it was, like all these things. And sometimes, you know, if I didn't have this information so easily, maybe if I was super obsessed, I would stalk. Like, honestly, I might.
Like, hey girl, would you get this hat?
Yeah.
But if not, like, you would have just been like, oh, this is cute. Oh, I don't know where. Okay, bye. Like, I'm done. Yeah.
Bye, I'm done. And then now, like, what did it, like $150 later, I have the hat I want. And so
the hat company is smart. Well, was she an influencer of the hat company, or she just
she was just wearing the hat?
That's good.
But you know, that's the thing. You know, you just want to be super clear with whatever it is that you're trying to get your point across. So, like, I always say, like, your intention, like what it is that you're painting and why. Like, if you're painting strong women, why are you painting strong women, and what types of organizations or people? Who are the people that would see this and get it and want it?
Yeah. Is your message clear enough? Are you conveying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Focusing on.
And a lot of that comes from like learning to have the balls to tell people what you are conveying. Sometimes we keep ourselves quiet because we say things that we think other people want to hear. Sometimes we keep ourselves quiet because we're unsure of ourselves. And, you know, other times we keep ourselves quiet because we are conditioned to keep ourselves quiet, right? We're conditioned
to... Just women.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Or we're just afraid of being seen as, like, untamed or not good enough or not, you know, the status quo. It's so true.
Oh my gosh. And also you were telling me about my North Node and, like, how to, like, get that going. And I really... She is like the prime example of like just moving through your chart, like I literally like did a little mini reading, like I needed to refresh myself before this, and I was like, you are doing you, girl. You are doing great. You are, if you were where you were before your Saturn return, I'd be like, we have work to do, but you're just like, you're amazing. Like you're doing your thing. I mean, a lot of the way that I'm doing my thing is also like considered woo-woo, right? Like,
yes, let's talk about
my woo-woo moment.
So I ask everybody that's on, I'm like, what do you do to stay grounded in New York and also connected to spirit, and how do you keep zen in this chaotic city and chaotic life? Like, so what's your woo-woo?
So what's my woo-woo thing? So like, it's so important for me to make sure that my energy is balanced throughout my body. I have a morning ritual that I absolutely adhere to 100%. There is a wonderful online person.
You sent me the medication.
Medication.
Meditation, people. Sorry, meditation. It was like the throat chakra meditation. You sent me that. That's great.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I was gonna say I always do a morning tapping with Gala Darling. Like she always posts
She's
amazing
awesome.
videos.
Oh,
yeah, they're
love her.
so good. They've
Shout out to
literally
Gala.
they've literally changed my life, and they will help you so much. Like she does something called EFT tapping, which is basically you almost, I want to say, like hypnotize yourself. And so you tap on certain points in your body. And this is also something I do with my clients that need to get over certain things like self-doubt and like self-worth issues and jealousy issues, whatever it is.
Blockages, all that. Yeah.
So you basically hypnotize yourself into getting rid of or introducing behaviors and things like that. And so I do a tapping every morning. I make sure to do a gratitude ritual every morning because that's what keeps me happy, not only because I'm in New York, but also, you know, seasons change, people get depressed in winter.
Yeah, winter blues are real.
Yeah.
I'm okay, I'm thriving. But
you're thriving.
All you need is a little bit of highlighter, some blush.
A fun jacket.
A fun jacket.
I wish you could like really see this. This is like holographic. It's like so cute.
I won't say the maker because I don't want to unplug them on, on Insta.
It's okay. I mean,
I'll tell you after.
DM her and she'll tell you. And then the other thing that I do is I make sure my energy is balanced. I do a lot of chakra balancing, like listening to Tibetan singing bowls. You can even Google that.
Sound bath, sound meditation. So good.
And so something that you can do at home is like whenever you think about something, let's say you don't feel like going to talk to someone, or you don't feel like doing something, or let's say you really want to sit down and start working on your business, but you just can't. Well, the question is, where in your body do you feel uneasy, right? And that area in your body where you feel uneasy corresponds to the chakra that needs to be rebalanced, that needs to be opened. And the best way to do that is, you know, you can easily just Google what are the chakras and look at which parts of your body. A lot of people say like, oh, I can't begin to think about my schedule. I feel uneasy in my stomach. And
it's that solar plexus.
Yes.
I actually did a whole video on the chakras. So if y'all wanna, I'm gonna put in the links below. But if y'all wanna watch that, then
chakras are the thing.
Okay. And each astrological sign connects to a certain chakra.
What sign do I mean, what chakra?
Sagittarius, solar plexus chakra. So it's like self-worth, self-esteem. Yeah. And then your north node in Taurus is the actually the heart. Sorry. Yeah. The heart. Yeah.
So speaking of north node in the heart, I had like such a spiritual awakening because my friend by accident had an extra ticket to a heart chakra meditation dinner. I went to this heart.
I think you told me about that.
Yes, it was like the aha moment of my life. So I went to this heart chakra meditation dinner. Yes.
Okay. Kristen's also in the LILITH series, so shout out.
Kiki.
Kiki, yeah. Kiki.
So Kiki pulled me to this, and I had, you know, we listened to like, and it was like a gong meditation that was guided about your heart chakra, and you ate foods that opened up your heart chakra. You drank wine that like went along with the food and everything. And they also, it was at a store where they sold chakra related jewelry, and they allowed you to wear some of it to, you know, depending on what you needed.
Like the crystals. Yeah.
So I went to this thing and I had such an aha moment. It helped me really get in line. And even though my
heart is your north node,
the heart is my north node, but I think my north node also has to do with like being able to speak to large crowds.
Yeah, because you need to speak from your heart.
But I need to speak from my heart. And one thing that I keep telling people, sometimes they feel like they can't, like they're not so clear on what they want to say, like how they want to say it. I always tell them, open up your heart first. Your throat is not necessarily the place where it should be coming from. Your throat is just a vehicle.
Yeah, I literally was just talking about this with a friend who was saying she's, very afraid of, speaking in public or speaking on camera. And I'm like, it comes from here.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like, even when I'm asking people I'm interviewing or speaking on camera, I don't memorize. I may know the structure of what I want to talk about, but honestly kind of all goes out the window because you're speaking from here.
Yeah.
And then this is like carrying.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. You're a Virgo rising and Mercury rules your chart.
Yeah.
The Mercury rules the throat chakra.
Mercury.
Communication planet. And she's born during Mercury retrograde, so it's easier for her during retrograde time than like the rest of us go through like a shit show. She's just like, hey, I'm like, my life
I
is
used to
shambles.
always date like the cutest guys during Mercury retrograde. Like when I was still dating, I was always like I fell into like these relationships and I was like, well, they didn't end up working out.
Well,
so.
she's like happily married now. So
yeah.
it's like whatever.
But another thing I just want to say, like, this might be really important to you guys who are listening, but I recently had a client who was just having the hardest time posting on her Instagram. It was like the most challenging thing. She was like, what do I say? Is my caption good enough? Like,
what genre? Can you say what genre? Business?
In art.
In art, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
so this was an artist. And so she's like, what should my caption be? What should my image look like? Should it be like which color? Or like, what am I, like, what do I do? What do I do?
A lot, thinking in her head.
Yeah.
It's like very in your head.
It's very in her head.
Yeah.
And there are certain things, of course, you want to do on Instagram to like make it work for you as an artist. So we had a whole list of those things that, she would cross off, and we kind of like were planning her social media strategy. And she just was blocked. And so I was like, hey, you need to go and open up your heart chakra, because we would think it's communication is your throat chakra, but for her it was, especially when it comes to Instagram, it's your heart chakra that you want to open up. Like it's so important because you want to give to people. When you want to give people a reason to follow you, to care about you. So when
it's
you
more than
open
just
up,
about the information,
it's about from here. And so once you're very clear about what you want to convey and why you want to convey it and all these things, that's when your heart chakra is wide open and you're welcome to give, because once you're giving, you're then receiving from that. That is the most important, exciting thing, is like to give. Sometimes you're not receiving and you're like, oh my god, why am I not receiving? Like my business is,
and it's like a vicious cycle.
And then the only way to break it is when you give.
And speak from the heart, come from the heart. Solar plexus is so important too, because it's like how we feel about ourselves. It's very interesting though. So your south node is rules the genitals, the sacral chakra, and that's like a very instinctual. It's like, I feel like that's like a difficult north node, south node. I actually was saying this the other day with another person who hers is opposite. It's south node in Taurus, north node in Scorpio. And I'm like, those axes, whether they're flipped or not, that's the most difficult north node, south node combination to me, because you're going from something that's so instinctual, gut related. Like, it's hard to move past instinct, because instinct is like, we're born with this. We're born with it. This is just something that I have to do and I want to do. But then moving past that more towards abundance and beauty and love and self-worth and self-expression. I mean, that's also beautiful too. So it's like, Marina just has the best north node, south node. Mine is boring. Mine is like Aries north node, south node Libra. It's boring.
They're like, but they're not next to each other. They're also kind of opposite.
They're opposite. So the north and south node is always like in the opposite signs. So that's what even makes it more difficult, is you're literally going from the opposite of what you are comfortable with to more. So I need to be more, Aries in my qualities than sitting back on like my codependent Libra,
To be more fiery.
Yeah, be more fiery. Go for the gold.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of doing, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Marina always coaches me. She's the best business coach, you guys. Whether you're an artist, whether you are, in music, think of the creative fields, I think she's somebody great to reach out to just get a different business perspective. I know do you specialize just in visual arts, or is this open to a lot of other type of artistic pursuits?
Just like any business is going to be organic, right? You're going to do what makes sense for you and what people want, right? So what I started doing is working with artists, and so I work with artists one-on-one, and I work with them in groups to help them, kind of grow their art careers and grow themselves. So I help them grow their art career in the Artist Academy, which is kind of like my signature program that I was talking about earlier. And I also help them grow themselves afterwards in a program called Thriving Artist, where they kind of do everything that's akin to balancing their energy so that they're willing to receive in the art world and willing to they won't self-sabotage, because that's kind of the most difficult thing.
It's so easy to do.
One thing that kept popping up for me in my first year of business is because my business was just kind of it was doing great. My friends who were all having these online businesses, I started helping them with theirs. So I am now starting a group program for creative online businesses that will launch in March 2020.
Yeah, hear that, all of you ladies?
Yeah.
The goals?
Yeah, goals. But see, what's amazing about something like that, and if you have a business, if you have an online business, especially, you're going to grow really fast. And when you grow really fast, you need your spirituality to be in line.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's so important. So it's also really, really important, to work with a coach that you love when you have an online business. So find someone that you love. If you love me, work with me.
I mean, come on, people.
Yeah.
The links are all below, so contact her.
But, it's so important to also be part of a community of people who are going to uplift you and who believe in your business and who can see that it makes sense to others online. Because when you're only showing it to yourself, you're only going to see what you want to see.
Yeah, totally.
And so, the biggest propeller of growth is having feedback, right?
Yep. And it's so easy when you're running an online business to kind of be in yourself and not talk to someone else who has a different perspective. So I think having a coach can also help you with that too. So it's very exciting launching another part of your business. It kind of leads me to my last question. Where do you see yourself going in 2020? 2020 is a huge year, which all of us astrologers have been talking about ad nauseum. We have the Pluto-Saturn conjunction in January. We have Uranus going direct in January. We have a major eclipse in Cancer in January. And we have some other shifts, Saturn going into Aquarius. So we have a whole air rulership that's going to go on in society. So, what are your plans?
What are my plans
for 2020? And
let me tell you, speaking of 2020, I have clear 2020 vision about what I want.
Oh my! I think this might be a new 2020 vision. That might be a new hashtag or something. That's so awesome.
Thank you. My husband's a comedian,
so that helps. I love it.
But I'm sure I'm not the first one. So anyway, I just want to say, one of my coaches that really helped me launch my business, her company is called Chakra Girl. She always, Amber Lee, who is the owner of this company and the coach, kept saying dream as big as possible. And I'm thinking I am dreaming as big as possible. And then I listened to her in her podcast once, and she's like, I want to open up my balcony door and walk out onto a terrace that has its own private pool. And I'm like,
can we do that in New York City? I guess maybe if you live in Brooklyn.
I don't know. I didn't even know you could have your own private pool in a building.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
And so I was like, wait, I'm not dreaming big enough.
Yeah. I find that too. Yeah.
So the question is what is your own private pool on your terrace? And can you dream about it? So for me, that is, for this year, we should check in 2021 if any of this happened, but I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
it's all
we're gonna do
happen.
a follow-up manifestation video.
Yes. So I really want to do a TED Talk. This is
Yes.
number one for me.
Yeah, you're gonna do it.
I want to do a lot more public speaking at universities, maybe like talking about what the new landscape of the art world means to a contemporary artist. And another thing that I'm really, really into as far as my career goes is, well, who doesn't want to be an Oprah?
Oh, girl. Oh, wait, I feel like we talked about this.
We talked about this last time. Oprah, are you listening?
The thing is like if I met Oprah, like I would literally just implode inside, so...
about, not being able to handle it when you're with your idol or like at that moment, there is, yes. So let me tell you guys about something that Gay Hendricks wrote. Gay Hendricks is a fantastic thinker. He's a PhD in psychology, I believe, and he wrote this book called The Big Leap. And The Big Leap is about, and I have all my clients read this book because it's so critical to understanding why we self-sabotage and how to stop it. And so the idea is that we operate with our ego, and we operate between these two parallel lines. The bottom line is our baseline, and it is what the bare minimum for anything that we do is. Like, it's the bare minimum for, how much money we have in our bank account. It is the bare minimum for how we let our friends treat us and our family and all these things. And then we have our upper limit. And our upper limit is the, how big can we dream? What is the biggest thing we can think of doing? And when we get closer to that upper limit, which, is talking casually to Gail or Oprah,
I'm dying. Okay.
I'm like, I'm like Gail, like we go way back. So, like talking casually to your idols or being in the presence of like important people or whatever it is, like rubbing shoulders with like Mark Zuckerberg, whoever it is, right? Elon Musk, I don't know, whatever. So
anyone you admire,
anyone you admire, or like when you're about to get that big raise and like really like live your best life and or like make a lot of money, or when you're about to get a client who's willing to pay you more than you've ever been paid, our default is to sabotage because our ego doesn't feel comfortable above that top line.
You're right.
Our ego's like, I don't think we can go there because I don't know what's going to happen.
Also fight or flight.
Yeah.
So because like our body is like responds to like, this isn't me. This is what? And then you like sabotage yourself.
You sabotage yourself. And so when we have that nervousness, that is sabotage. And there was this, I know I'm quoting all these people, but they're amazing. And so, Gabby Bernstein in her new book, Super Connector, she writes this moment where she had this, encounter with Oprah. She was about to, I think she was, reading comprehension, questionable. I don't remember, but I read this book just when it came out, and I've read other books since it. So I don't remember for 100%, but I think she was something like, she was about to go on Oprah. She ran into Oprah at like crossing paths at an event and needed to say hi to her, but she was at a place where she had up-leveled kind of and like was okay living as if she was already on Oprah and as if she was like as popular as Oprah, and she was able to speak to her in a way where they were kind of like equals in her mind, and they had a wonderful connection because of that, because she wasn't holding back what she wanted to say. Her heart chakra was wide open. Her heart chakra was wide open. She was fearless and able to say what she wanted to say. So that is really, as we're approaching our upper limit, whenever we get to these places where we're like, oh my God, I'm so scared. How can I be a millionaire with my own private pool in the middle of a big city?
And it's like also priming when you're young, like if you grew up poor or if, without, or your parents told you this and that. It's like all that subconscious crap.
Yeah.
You have to fight against.
Yeah. So, when this happens, be aware and think to yourself, like, how can I really tell my ego to shut up?
I mean, I think that, and that's just like such a big thing going into 2020 is honoring your authentic self and what you truly deserve and what your true path is in this life. It like literally is like this is some gnarly astrology, you guys. Like, I don't want to take over because I'm going to talk about this in my January report, but like it's gnarly astrology, and it's really about being authentic to yourself.
Yeah.
Not to like go on a tangent.
Don't ask someone to reread your emails. Yeah. Just send them.
Yeah.
Right?
Except during Mercury retrograde. You should usually leave it in your drafts. You're fine because you're a retrograde baby, but everybody else reread your emails. And when the moon is void, of course, do that.
There is a wonderful app that helps you with your grammar. And we're not
Grammarly?
Yeah,
I use Grammarly. That. Yeah.
It's so good.
I use that.
Yeah.
It's fine. No shame.
Yeah.
No shade.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Marina.
Thank you, Addie.
I loved having you on. And if you guys want to know more about the Artist Advisory, Marina's services, click the link below. Follow her on Instagram at The Artist Advisory. Are there some underscores in there?
There's underscores, but I should be the first one that pops up. It's at _artist_advisory.
Okay. And I'll also put that below too. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to also join my new memberships. There's more information on those in the link below as well. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I hope you enjoyed this wonderful insight from my dear friend Marina.